لا إله إلا الله.
From 1:30 to 2 p.m.
Within the prayer. Within the prayer.
The prayer's after 2 o'clock. Yeah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. We thank Him for all His favors and we pray that Allah continues to guide and guard us so that we remain believers to the last beatings of our hearts. In the name of Allah, the Able, the Capable, the Creator whose handiwork is impeccable, the Lord whose greatness is indescribable, the King whose dominion is undeniable, the One whose majesty is incomparable, the Omnipotent who is invincible, the Omniscient who is invisible, the Judge whose mercy is desirable, and the Almighty whose punishment is unbearable. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all His mercies upon us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us and He did not leave us to just wander about. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us and gave us specific tasks that we have to do. In the Quran, in Surah Dhariyah, chapter 51, verse 56, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned to us clearly, وَدَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونِ That I have not created men and jinns except that they should worship me. مَا أُرِيدُ مِنْهُمْ بِالرِّزْقِ وَمَا أُرِيدُ مِنْهُمْ أَنْ يُطْعِمُونَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الرَّزَّاقُ ذُو الْقُوَّةِ الْمَتِينِ That Allah has not desired or does not need any of us to provide for Him in any way, shape, or form. Or is it that we should feed Allah, or we should provide for Allah, or we should help Allah with anything? Rather, Allah is the Razak, He's the one who provides, and He's the one who is the Lord of Almighty. He's the Almighty Lord. He's the one who has the greatness. He's the one who has everything, and He needs nothing from us. But then the challenge we all have is, how do we then survive? How do we then be able to follow the commandments of Allah? In essence, how do we worship Allah the way He wants? How do we ensure that we don't fail? It's often said that no man is an island because we all need one another to survive. And Islam is a religion about community. And the community starts with you, and then the next person to you, and then the next person to you. And those things that you make happen in terms of your social milieu. Which brings me to my topic for today, entitled, Who is my friend? Who is your friend? I promised my friend I was going to tell them how I came about this topic. And it happened about 1 hour ago, believe me, about an hour ago. As I was thinking about so many different things that I would like to share with you. And I said to myself, after gisting with my friend, he who is in Nigeria, he's a professor of medicine, nephrologist. After we talked, and then I forgot why I called him, part of what I wanted to ask him. When he hung up, because I was going to ask him to give me a suggestion for the topic for today. And when we hung up, and then I said, oh my goodness, I forgot to even ask him the question. So I called back and he didn't pick up. And then I said, you know what, why was I even calling him in the first place? I said, because he's my friend. And then I said, what made him my friend? And that's the reason why I chose the topic. And then he called me back. And then I told him what was going through my mind. And he was actually staying with a friend of ours also. At that point in time, because he's in Lagos and he lives somewhere else. And so I asked both of them the same question. So let me give you a little bit of background of these friends. So my friend that I called originally were classmates in medical school. We are not old people. Okay? Don't let you see not this way, this is precocious. Okay? But we left medical school. In October, it will be 30 years that we graduated from medical school. So that tells you we must be really super young. And we've been friends since 1985, when both of us were first years in medical school. We've been friends since 1985. And we're still friends today. Alhamdulillah. So we've been friends for a very long time, as you can tell. So then I asked myself, what exactly are the stuff that made us friends? And instead of me giving those answers, I let them give those answers, and that's what I'm going to share with you. So the other friend also is a pharmacist. He was actually ahead of us. He was our senior in terms of the schooling. So he finished before us. So I said, so what are the things you should look for? That I'm going to be talking to some rising stars. That would be you. And me, I'm rising too. Alhamdulillah. So I'm going to be talking to rising stars in JUMMAH today. And if we can give them advice in this stage, what advice would we be giving them? And so I'm going to present to you that conversation. Most of this I kept quiet because I wanted to hear what they have to say. So the first thing they mentioned is the fear of Allah. The fear of Allah. If you have the fear of Allah in your heart, and you are looking for like minds like you want people who will be there for you. And one of my friends then mentioned the ayah from Surah Tawbah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha wa kunu ma'as sadiqin. O you believe, fear Allah and be in the company of those who are true in words and deeds. Be in company of good people. So that was the first thing they said. And the other person then mentioned, well, that would be the qualities you'll be looking for in choosing your wife. So we said, no, a wife and a friend are two different things. So you see the same kind of conversation we're having. So I said a wife and a friend are two different things. A wife is always an upgrade from a friend. I know people often say, oh, well, maybe I want my wife to be my friend. No, you don't want your wife to be your friend. You want your wife to be your wife and your friend to be your friend. You see, because a wife is at a much higher level than a friend. Higher level. If you say you want him to be friendly enough for her to be your wife, she's already past all that. That's why she's a wife. The same thing for your husband. Your husband is not your friend. Your husband is your husband because he's at a much higher level than a friend will be. It's the same way when you look at I had a patient yesterday, and when I walked to the initial place where you see patients before we take them in for procedure, and I looked at my patient and I looked at the person who has brought her in to be the ride when they finish procedure so that somebody drives home. And I've learned my lesson not to assume what their relationship will be. So instead I will ask. So I said, what's the relationship between the two of you? She looked at me and smiled. Said, thank you. She's my mom. Now the person I'm talking to is about 50-something years old. And her mom was sitting right there in front of her. And they look very much alike. I thought they were sisters. Honestly, I'm glad I didn't ask that question. Then she told me, thank you. Now I know I'm going to look when I get older as her age. So she was kissing her mom right there. Right there. But the point is, you don't know. So I was teasing the mom. I said, so this is going to be your bodyguard. And she said, my mom is much more than a bodyguard. But think about that. Your mom is always there, right? She's been your bodyguard ever since you can remember, right? She's always there for you. But does that mean the level of a bodyguard is the level your mom is? No! Your mom is your mom. A bodyguard is a bodyguard, right? She's always going to be mom. She may do all the functions of a bodyguard for you. As you can see, this is a 50-something-year-old woman. Her mom, she's brought her for a procedure. Her mom brought her for a procedure. Okay, so there are some relationships when we talk about what they have, but they are going to be a whole lot more than that. So a wife is always going to be more than a friend. And may Allah not let our friends be more important than our wives. And may Allah not let our friends be more important than our husbands. Because if that's your situation, sorry to break it down to you, that's kind of messed up. Now, so when you are choosing, you should choose somebody. Then my friend said, you should choose somebody to be your friend whose iman is greater than yours. So the rest of us jumped at him. The two of us jumped at the guy who said that. I said, how do you measure somebody's iman? So the person was putting it to me. He said, my own iman is more than his own. I said, you don't know that. So then he went into analysis. He said, okay, you can judge in a way with, the person who has memorized more Quran, the one who has done this. And then he started comparing himself with some of our old friends. Saying, okay, I do more Quran than this other person I do. So we're just talking among ourselves in terms of that. But the point is, you want to be among like minds, whose the only thing, their own goals and aspirations aligns with yours. How do you be better in the sight of Allah? And I'm going to digress from our conversation to tell you an anecdote to something that happened to me when I was in med school as well. So, in our masjid, the Muslim Student Association, you guys call it Muslim Student Association, but back home in Nigeria, we call it Muslim Student Society, MSS. Between Maghrib and Isha every day, there's always an activity in our masjid, in the med school. There's always an activity. For some of us, that's actually where we learned how to read the Quran. For me, as a person, that's where I learned how to read Alif, Ba, Ta, Tha, Jim, Ha, Kha, all those stuff. I learned it as a medical student. So if you ask me, I'll say I'm a Muslim made in the university. That's what I'll tell you. Now, that's the place where we were learning. And eventually I became the imam. And we had our own style. When we finish prayer like this, the imam looks around and picks on anybody to give khatira. You don't prepare for it. So you have to do your preparation before you come to the masjid, because you can be called at any time to give a khatira. And you have to speak. And everybody will sit like this and watch. And you have to come up and then give a 5 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes talk. We don't censor whatever you want to say. You can say anything you want. So all of us have to prepare. So it matters that you be somebody that will be a Muslim and then you are asked a question of Islam and you keep quiet because the sheikh is not around. No. We said to ourselves that will not happen to us again because it happened before. So we said this will never happen to us again. Everybody should be able to speak about Islam. Everybody. And that was the mindset that we had. Now, why did I bring that up? In that same community, we used to do Quran competition. So that somebody may come up with the idea and just say, why not let us memorize so-so surah? And some people will take up the challenge and we'll all try and go memorize the surah. So I entered some of those competitions. I won when it came to Surah to Rahman. I won. Now, I won that one. That was the first one to memorize Surah to Rahman. We did Surah to Yasin. I lost. Okay, somebody else won. But the one I lost that was most painful was Surah to Kaf. I did the competition with a mentor of mine who was supposed to memorize Surah to Kaf. By the time he finished the 110 ayahs, I was still on verse 33. It was not even close. It was so embarrassing. The interesting thing about that competition was it took me another 15 years to finish Surah to Kaf. Another 15 years before I then went back to now memorize Surah to Kaf. The reason why I brought that up is there are many things you achieve on account of your friends, urging you along. There are many things you'll achieve. And that's why it's important to choose a good friend. Choose somebody that will encourage you in the path of righteousness. Now, so one of the points my friends also mentioned to share with you is choose a friend that will encourage you to do what is right. What you need is not a fans club. If you need a fans club, set one up for yourself. Okay? But if you need a friend, be ready to hear things you don't like. Because those are the real friends. They will tell you the truth. It's not like, oh, if we tell him now, if we tell her now, that is not a friend. The person who will be a good friend of yours is the one who will help you up when you are down. It's the one when you are oppressing somebody, he will hold your hand. When you are being oppressed, they will support you to rise against oppression. But if you are the oppressor, your friend will be somebody who holds your hand himself or herself. That is a friend. Okay, not a fans club. Okay, not a fans club. And beware of your fake book friends. I think that's what they call it, right? So if you have some fake book and you have a whole lot of friends there, and all these people that all they're trying to do is to bring you down, they don't know who you are, but you want to fit in, you want to be like them, that may not be your friend. Look for somebody who knows you. And talking works better than text. Because text sometimes, and I know you'll be like, well, he's an old man, he doesn't know. But you see OMG, and you say, oh my God, what's wrong with you? Two things can mean two different things when spoken, and when you see the person and you actually speak. How many times do you think people have gotten into problems over text messages or email that do not reflect exactly what their thought process really is, or that is misconstrued by the other person? You just don't know. Sometimes I play a joke on my daughter when she texts to me. These days she doesn't text to me in letters anymore. She types the whole English. Yeah, it's deliberate because I want her to speak real English to me on text message, so I don't tell me alphabets only. Because I deliberately decided to misunderstand her LOL, and I text back to her, why are you calling me little old lady? She said, no! Why are you calling me little old lady? For LOL. Even though I know what it meant. So he said, I'll just say anything I want to say in full sentence. The issue is talk. Real friends like your company. And when you guys are still in the situation where you still see each other, you are still hanging out together, this is the place you are going to make the best of friends you are going to keep. And as a friend, don't be a consumer. Be a giver. And even the Prophet ﷺ said that the hand on top is better than the hand below. So be somebody that is generous with your friends. And do not expect anything from your friend. Don't expect anything. When you look at the relationship that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned of those who are the best in charity, He said, وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ لَا نُرِيدُ مِنكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا إِنَّا نَخَافُ مِن رَّبِّنَا يَوْمًا عَبُوسًا قَمْطَرِيرًا فَوَقَاهُمُ اللَّهُ شَرَّ ذَلِكَ الْيَوْمِ وَلَقَاهُمْ نَضْرَةً وَسُرُورًا وَجَزَاهُمْ بِمَا صَبَرُوا جَنَّةً وَحَرِيرًا. This is Surah Al-Insan. That these people that he was talking about, the good people, the people who are going to make it to Jannah, Allah said they are the people who give out to the one who is poor, who is wayfarer, the one who is needy, who is hungry, saying we are doing this for the sake of Allah. We are not expecting you to reward us for it. We are not expecting even thanks from you. Because we are doing this because we fear the day that we are going to meet Allah. And Allah said He's going to save them from the punishment, He's going to save them from the challenges of the day of judgment. And He said their reward for their patience is that they are going to be in Jannah, in paradise, and they are going to be adorned with silk. See, that's a promise for those who do things expecting their reward only from Allah. So that when you are having friends, have your friends based on the love of Allah. Let your friends be people you are choosing and you are loving them for the sake of Allah. But then, don't love somebody and give them the love that is only due to Allah. So that when your friend now encourages you to do what is wrong, don't follow them. Don't say you are going to do like solvent drag. You know, like when you pour water, and in this one way, all of them just follow it. Don't do solvent drag. Okay? Be somebody that you will weigh everything you are doing on the basis of the Quran and the Hadith. Okay? Anything you are doing, choose your friends and ensure that whatever you are all going to be doing together is going to be enjoining good and forbidding what is evil. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم يا أيها الذين آمنوا توبوا إلى الله توبة نصوحا. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلم تسليما Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad kama sallaita ala Sayyidina Ibrahim wa ala ali Sayyidina Ibrahim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad kama barakta ala Sayyidina Ibrahim wa ala ali Sayyidina Ibrahim fil alamin innaka Hamidum Majid. Again, brothers and sisters in Islam, I ask you, who is your friend? When you think about that question, I'm sure some of us will already have a person or persons in mind that will come quickly to your mind as being, oh, my friend is so-so person. My friend is so-so person. I'm not asking you who's your wife or who's your husband. I'm saying who's your friend. If you are married, your wife will be the closest person to you and should be the closest person to you. And if you have a husband, your husband should be the closest person to you. But for those of us who are not married, then your friend may actually be the closest person to you. Or better still, your parents. I know many people will start running their eyeballs. Parents. But your parents are supposed to be close to you. And your parents will always have your interest at their heart. They will always have your interest at heart. It may not be apparent to you, but that never goes away. And if what I've just said is not very clear to you, wait till you have children of your own, then you will understand. But your parents will always be concerned about you, even if you don't agree with everything they say or they tell you. But in terms of friends, friends come, friends go. But the friends that will be beneficial to you are the ones who are encouraging you in the path of righteousness. And I will conclude with an hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in which he gave us the parable of a good company. He said the parable of a good company is when you are in a place where they are selling perfume or cologne. That even if you are there and you didn't buy any, you are still going to smell good. Because one of two things will happen. The person who is selling the cologne, you may buy cologne from God's perfume from the person. That which means you then have perfume to use for yourself. Or the person may actually give you some perfume. And then you get to use perfume. But even if you don't buy the perfume, the fact that you are in that same environment, you are going to smell good. And that's a fact. He said the parable of keeping a bad company is if you are standing where they are bellowing a fire. It's like when you are in the blacksmith workshop, for example. Even if you did not participate in making the fire and burning the iron and all that, you are still going to get soot on you. You are still going to get all those dusts, the dirt of burning things. You're still going to get it on you, even if you did not participate. It's because you are in that environment. Brothers and sisters in Islam, let us create a good environment for ourselves. Be in the company of those who love Allah. Be in the company of those who will encourage you in the path of Allah. Be in the company of those who, when you are having your challenges, will be there to support you. Be in the company of those who will encourage you to do what is right at all times. That will be the group of the good friends, of the friends you should have. Not those who are necessarily going to be dancing to your tunes, not those who are only going to praise you, but those who will be there in the real sense of the word. Those who are indeed true in words and in deeds. That is the group Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encouraged us to be in Surah Al-Tawbah, as I read earlier, that Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha wa kunu ma'as sadiqin. O you believe, fear Allah and be in the company of those who are true in words and in deeds. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us our shortcomings. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala plant our feet firmly. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to guide us. And let our social media be that will promote our return to Him in peace and satisfaction. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our families and forgive us our shortcomings. And let us be among those that will be united on the day of judgment under the throne of Allah, as being among the true worshippers of Allah. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد وأقم الصلاة